read a communication to the House. Mr. Speaker, I've always said that there are several things that are very personal to me. I've spoken of the inner city being personal, as that is where I am from. I've spoken about poverty being very personal to me, being a descendant of poverty, and the family islands, and especially the young people, haven't learned that in the Commonwealth nations, 60% of the population of the Commonwealth nations are less than 30 years old, which is very significant. But, Mr. Speaker, it gives me great pleasure to lay before the Honorable House the white paper on the Over-the-Hill Community Development Partnership Initiative. This paper, Mr. Speaker, lays out my government's policy objectives for the rejuvenation of over-the-hill communities and marks the beginning of 2 months of broad-based consultation. Mr. Speaker, in 2014, I uttered the words, and I quote, "We can transform our inner city communities in ways only dreamt about," end quote. Upon becoming Prime Minister in May 2017, it was therefore my time to act and not just to dream. This has been a key priority of my government, and I am humbled to present this document to the Bahamian people. The Over-the-Hill area, Mr. Speaker, historically was the epicenter of cultural and social development in New Providence, particularly for those Bahamians of African descent. The community produced so many of our labor leaders, our teachers, our physicians, and, of course, our politicians. Its residents endured the booms and busts of this turbulent economy over the many decades since the end of slavery with tremendous resilience and dignity. This community, Mr. Speaker, maintained their pride in the distinction and rich cultural heritage which made them who they were. And we know that things have changed considerably now. So many who stayed in this area fell on hard economic times. We also know that there is high incidences of crime and poverty, exacerbated by poor infrastructure, the abandonment of the area by many traditional families, and the increasing impoverishment of the environment by dilapidated housing and illegal garbage and waste disposal. We also know, Mr. Speaker, that no government has consistently invested what needed to be invested on a sustained basis to ensure that this community could continue to thrive. History is replete with many announced but unsustained projects such as the Grantstown Renewable Project in the mid-1980s. My government is determined to change this. In October 2017, I instructed my office to build a sustainable program around 3 key objectives. 1, ensuring a safer over-the-hill community. 2, ensuring a cleaner over-the-hill community. And 3, encouraging inclusive economic and social empowerment through community development. My office, Mr. Speaker, created a program around 6 key pillars. That is social empowerment, economic empowerment, rejuvenation, smart technology, green and sustainable technology, and programs for youth and the elderly. Let's look at social empowerment, Mr. Speaker. Critical to social empowerment is the process to become more self-resilient and to comprehensively address poverty. Our programs will deal with poverty reduction, skills upgrading and job training, supporting employment opportunities for residents, supporting community building, health and wellness programs, and crime reduction. These efforts, Mr. Speaker, will involve strengthening the social support systems and facilities for families within the over-the-hill community. We will be mapping and assessing existing social support services, improving access to support, strengthening broader social assistance programs, and coordinating with existing programs to ensure that our community centers are better utilized to meet key needs. We will work with other partners inside and outside of government to improve the employability of the over-the-hill residents. One tangible program is to facilitate the training of over-the-hill residents to gain driver's licenses and to assist with other forms of identification. We must improve child care options for working parents in the over-the-hill community. We want to improve access to health care services, including primary, mental, and family planning services, and also services for those with substance abuse disorders and gambling addictions. We will support healthy eating and living initiatives. And finally, Mr. Speaker, we want to take back our over-the-hill streets. We will strengthen community policing and go after illegal gun possessions and strengthen programs such as the Rangers and the Police Cadet Corps. We will be increasing our surveillance for known drug dealers, gun offenders, repeat offenders, and child molesters in order to make our streets safer. Mr. Speaker, in the area of economic empowerment, through this initiative, the government of the Bahamas is introducing the concept known as the empowerment zone. This concept is well known throughout the world and relates to areas designated because of economic hardship for special incentives. It is imperative, Mr. Speaker, that the zones ensures good corporate social responsibility and also that there is a sunset clause so that it doesn't become a permanent zone. The over-the-hill area will become the first empowerment zone in the Bahamas. The incentives outlines will apply to residential properties, both owned and rented, commercial and industrial undertakings with an aggregate turnover of $5 million or less, and all enterprises whose primary income is not, and I repeat, is not derived from the business of gaming or the sale of alcohol. For those qualified residents and business owners, with respect to the redevelopment of land and buildings, the following is proposed. 1. Exemptions from real property taxes. Exemptions from customs duties related to construction, equipping, and completing buildings and structures for a specified period. Exemptions from excise taxes and exemptions from stamp tax imposed on real property. In terms of business taxes, the following relates for all applicable businesses, with the exception of those engaged in restricted activities, and upon obtaining a trade certificate which will prove that you are located in the zone, you will be afforded a 100% waiver of the assessed business license tax. You will also be exempted from customs duties for the purchase of a vehicle for use in your business with appropriate markings. Mr. Speaker, good corporate social responsibility is essential in this program. We want to see our over-the-hill businesses who are benefiting from the generous provisions give back to their community in a beneficial manner. Mr. Speaker, our programs for the over-the-hill economic empowerment pillar will also include support for small and medium-sized businesses, building local business and financial literacy in the community, and creating opportunities for residents to invest in the cultural assets of the community. In addition to the planned works for Southern Recreation Grounds, we have plans for a large state-of-the-art pavilion to host cultural events for residents and tourists. With respect to rejuvenation, Mr. Speaker, we know that the physical environs of the over-the-hill is not where it should be. While there are many gems in the community, there are also many rough stones. Over the past months, the people have witnessed a massive cleanup effort in the community. We plan to make this more consistent, and we need to increase existing waste collection efforts in the community. We are planning to restore public spaces and recreational facilities. Two other key aspects of this component include working on improving housing in the over-the-hill community and a water for all strategy to eliminate the need for standpipes and the outside toilets by the year 2025. Mr. Speaker, when we look at green and smart technology, we have developed programs around the smart solutions to make better use of technology and of alternative energy. I have instructed the Ministry of Works and the Beaches and Parks Authority to work together to ensure upgrades to parks and to ensure that our parks will have free Wi-Fi. This is to be accessible to all over-the-hill residents. Mr. Speaker, education has now become digital, and it's essential that our over-the-hill community are part of this digital revolution. Two parks in the over-the-hill area are scheduled to begin refurbishment in June of this year. With respect to youth and the elderly, finally, Mr. Speaker, we will focus on programs that will support both youth and the elderly. Mr. Speaker, the Over-the-Hill Community Development Partnership Initiative is about making partnerships with groups already working in the community. We are not about reinventing programs or taking over programs. We seek to work with existing programs in the community. If you are already doing something positive, please let us know, and we will do our best to assist you. If you are from the community and want to do something, please reach out to us and we will assist. We are working with the church community, civil society, the University of Bahamas, and with the private sector to revitalize our beloved over-the-hill communities. Through these sustained initiatives, we hope to see a rebirth of the values, beauty, and economic viability of the over-the-hill community. This will realize a reduction or eradication of violent, drug-related, and petty crimes. We also hope, Mr. Speaker, to stimulate the return of traditional families to improve and rebuild their ancestral homesteads. And further, Mr. Speaker, the reinvigoration of businesses, job opportunities, coupled with the rebirth of cultural facilities, will stimulate higher living standards and will ultimately improve the quality of life for residents of the over-the-hill community. Mr. Speaker, I am happy this morning. I am pleased to table for this Parliament the White Paper 2018 for the rejuvenation and rebuilding of the over-the-hill community.
Order that the communication and the white paper be brought up.